says she's meeting the US Treasury following days of turmoil linked to Donald Trump's tariffs. How are Scotland's food and drink companies feeling? Prison inspectors say Scotland's largest jail's in a poor state and overcrowded. There are also claims of staff abusing prisoners. And a search is on for a Scottish tourist who was wrongly deported from Norway in February. All that to come. First to news with Andrew Quither.
The Chancellor Rachel Reeves has again told MPs nothing is off the table in talks with the United States about trade tariffs. Global stock markets have largely stabilised after the big falls over the past few days, but China has vowed to fight until the end against President Trump's tariffs, and there is concern about the impact on British companies and consumers. Ms Reeves told the Commons she would speak to the American Treasury Secretary soon.
The United States' decision to impose tariffs has had and will continue to have huge implications for the world economy. These implications have been reflected in the reaction that we have seen in global markets in recent days. This morning I spoke to the Governor of the Bank of England, who has confirmed that markets are functioning effectively and that our banking system is resilient.
The cost of support for Scotland's ageing population will put extra pressure on Scottish Government budgets in the decades ahead. That's according to a new report by the spending body, the Scottish Fiscal Commission. It warns that more effort is needed to help people stay healthy as they age to prevent a huge rise in spending on health and social care. Changing the rules on tackling for amateur rugby players in Scotland has reduced the rate of head collisions, that's according to an academic study. Researchers from Edinburgh University looked at the impact of lowering the permitted tackle height in men's community matches. It's part of an international project led by the sports governing body World Rugby. Stephen Gordon reports.
The potential long-term consequences of concussion in rugby has been the subject of intense scrutiny in recent years. Concerns about player safety led Scottish Rugby to adopt a rule change across the amateur game, which penalised tackles above a player's breastbone. The previous restriction was above the shoulder. Having assessed the change across an entire season of men's matches, researchers found it was linked to a 45% reduction in head-to-head collisions. They also recorded fewer head-to-shoulder contacts, describing the results as very encouraging.
Lawyers for Prince Harry have argued at the Court of Appeal in London that Home Office officials singled him out for inferior treatment when deciding the level of scrutiny he should get in the UK. The Prince, who is attending the court hearing in person, is challenging a decision that his protection should be decided on a case-by-case basis since he stepped back from royal duties. NHS Scotland nurses and healthcare staff have been offered an 8% pay rise over 2 years. The Scottish Government estimates it would cost more than £700 million. Our health reporter Claire McAllister has more.
Almost 170,000 NHS staff are impacted by this higher-than-inflation pay offer, including nurses, midwives and paramedics. Unions are considering this deal, which would see this year's pay increase by 4.25% and be backdated to the start of April. Then next year's pay would rise by 3.75%. If accepted, NHS staff in Scotland would continue to be the best paid in the UK. However, England, Wales and Northern Ireland are still negotiating wages.
A Lego replica of the Forth Road Bridge, made from around 100,000 bricks, is to go on display in Edinburgh next month. The 8-metre-long display features 2 working replica train tracks and was created by a team of 4 dedicated builders from the Lego UK Railways Group. It first went on display in Manchester in 2024, but this is the first time it will visit Scotland. That's the news, and looking at the travel updates now. A gas leak has closed the A726 from Straven to Chapelton. A breakdown on the A737 is blocking a lane going north between Paisley and Linwood, and in Glenrothes, debris has been reported on Kinlassie Road, meaning it's partially blocked between Bankhead Roundabout and Mar Drive. Scotland's weather. It's a dry afternoon with plenty of sunshine, though it could be cloudier for the Northern Isles and perhaps the north coast of Lewis. Winds will be light and variable, but still highs of around 20 Celsius in the west, elsewhere 15 to 19 degrees, though cooler for the Isles, northern and eastern coasts. BBC Radio Scotland News.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Now let's get more on the fallout from Donald Trump's announcement on global tariffs on products sent to the US. The Chancellor Rachel Reeves has said in the last few hours that she's going to meet the US Treasury shortly, and she says that nothing is off the table in negotiations about the future of the levies. Let's see how that might be impacting businesses. I'm joined by Ian Baxter, who's Chief Executive of Scotland Food and Drink, the industry group, and Alan Hogarth from the Scottish North American Business Council is here as well. So firstly, Ian, I guess when we think about Scottish products sent to the US, we're thinking about things like salmon and Scotch whisky as well. How is the sector feeling at the moment?
Andrew, I think like everyone else, we're waiting to see how all this transpires. It's very early on. It's very relatively new news. So really, what we're waiting to see is what the fallout and what the actual impact is. It's obviously a very complex situation. Yes, so it's obviously not great news in the sense that tariffs are never good, but by the same token, we're really looking at wait and see mode at the moment.
And are businesses thinking about, because I'm thinking about last